So welcome everybody to our 101 session this morning. This is session 3G, where we welcome Sujit Neb, who will be helping us to get an understanding of Ansible, where we can learn more about simplifying automation on zOS. If you have any questions, please do put them in the chat, and we will be looking to answer them towards the end of the session. And we have an hour or so to get through this, so we've got plenty of time. And before I hand over to Sujit, I just want to remind you to please complete the feedback form at the end of the session. I will put a link in the chat, so it's easier for us to access that. So with that, Sujit, I'll hand over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Atul. Thanks, Nal, for joining. And thanks, everyone, for joining this session, taking some time out for learning something new. And I hope that I will be able to get through the journey. Welcome, everyone. So we are going to talk about some type of automation that we are planning to do for zOS. And one of those is like using Ansible. And we'll be doing it very simplest way, no fancy stuff, no complex setup. So trust me, even if you are beginners, if you are not at all known to these automation concepts, not to worry. We'll have you go step by step, steady, and we'll make sure that you are able to run something in the automated fashion by the end of this session. So our topic for today is Ansible for zOS, and we'll just try to simplify automation for the beginners in the simplest way. Yeah. So as I said, like you don't have to be worried about learning as Ansible, learning automation, what that means. We'll cover the most basic part of it, and we'll try to ensure that with that basic, you're able to run something on zOS using Ansible, because I personally feel that gradual gains leads to really a greatness. So make sure that you're going through each point thoroughly, and if you have any questions, please do ask or put that into chat window, and we'll take at the end of this session. So let's start. So agenda for this session is why, what, and how about this topic. I will tell some small story about how I started with this automation and why I'm thinking that it will be useful for you as well. Then we'll have a few step-by-step slides to give you some highlights about how to download and install the Ansible. Then we'll have some setup configuration that is required to run your Ansible stuff on IBM for IBM Z. And then we'll actually try to run using some commands using CLI, and we'll see how it is going to be simple. We'll take one or two examples how to do and how to run it. And then I will share some useful resource that I find useful for my knowledge as well, and even when I tried to prepare this topic as well. So first thing first, why I'm thinking of this Ansible for zOS. And for me, my personal favorite is making life easier, and I'm sure most of you also finding out some stuff to make your life easier, better, so that you can concentrate on complex stuff, concentrate on innovative part of your work, and also getting rid of your redundant jobs in your day-to-day life. So in some way, people also call this as a modernizing the mainframe, because Gen Z or new beginners or new young talent, I would say, are more into this Ansible or open source type of technologies nowadays, and they are willing to learn it from a perspective where they can help to bring the mainframe into their DevOps tool set or enterprise-wide CI/CD pipelines like that. So definitely, if you are looking for building stuff to modernize your mainframe, then definitely this session is going to help you. And also we'll be exploring Ansible integration for zOS to see why this is important and why this is useful in terms of maintaining your day-to-day stuff or managing some basic stuff that is means where you can just ignore your attention and just keep rely on automation that you're doing. Now we'll see what is involved in this very fundamental things that we need to have to start with this automation is we need right softwares for your zOS system to connect with. Then we have to have Red Hat Ansible certified content for IBM Z collection. So I will come to that part, like what is mean by collections, what is and how is Ansible is linked to that. And then we'll also see writing and executing the playbooks, which is a kind of Ansible concept. So we'll also look into that. Very basic feature about Ansible is that it's open source automation tool. It is simple, flexible, and powerful. And best part that I like is it's agentless architecture, because you don't have to set up an agent on your host. So whenever we run this type of automation, there are, or maybe CI/CD pipelines or any Linux based or any type of workload management, we have to set up some agents. We have to do a lot of configurations for that to run on the agent system or maybe some virtual machine. But in this presentation today, we'll see that how it is agentless and how it is very simple in terms of configuration. There is one more automation, means it's a Red Hat Ansible automation platform, which is end-to-end automation platform, which is also having UI in terms of managing and configuring systems, deploying software, and orchestrating the advanced workflows. So that's another part of it, but we are not going into that. I'm just giving you the idea that it is a platform to do some form of automation and to simplify your work. And last but not least, certified content for IBM Z. So Ansible has specifically some collections to get your enterprise automation strategy through the Ansible automation and connect with mainframe as a platform so that you can do maintenance activity from anywhere possible. Okay. So we'll see. Here we have zOS as managed node. Why it is called as managed node? Because we are not going to set up any agent on the host system. So here our host is zOS, and what we will need is we will need to have SSH enabled for your zOS. Then we should have zOS Unix system services enabled. We should have Python also installed on your zOS. It may be IBM Rocket or any Python version that may be available for your setup. Also, we need to have IBM Z automation utilities so that it will also support you to run some form of automation using Ansible. And last but not least, like zOS V2 R3 or later. So this is basic requirement to run this show. And I'm sure that most of us will have this setup already available. If not, just talk to your admin people and try to get this done so that you will be able to play with some form of automation in your area. We'll see about how this works. Very basic diagram I tried to give here to explain how this works. And here you can see that there is no agent, there is no complex stuff. There is simple command prompt or terminal. There is a playbook and there is a server. So here on the left side, you can see that it's you as a user, or we can say that Ansible user, which runs the playbook that to configure the server. So it is the simplest way of explaining how Ansible can work to figure figure it out, basic task and things on the mainframe or the Z server. Playbook is a uh, kind of list that has to be done on the host system. So here our host is G server, and we'll see how it means, what it means. Okay, so sorry, just a moment. Okay, so we'll see what it has. Okay, when I say that it is simple playbook you run to configure G server, how it is done, what means what it has, basically components of Ansible. So here we can see on left side there are a couple of items, I would say, that you can generally do from the Ansible. It is just an example, a basic example to see what and how it can be done using Ansible on the mainframe. So left side, it is a playbook that has certain tasks to do, like ping host, ping your mainframe server, whether it is up and running or not. And second is like submit a JCL job. So we'll see both um, examples about how you can set up, how you can configure, and how you can run on your G server. So it contains Ansible as a integrated part, which is having Ansible automation engine that has several components within it. So inventory is basic unit of it, and when I say inventory, it is kind of a list that is required to be done on your host system. Then you have the collections. So collection is like a combination of modules. So modules is also like a certain task combined together and simply put into collection. And here today in our example, we'll see IBM Z core collections to do or ping a host or submit a job on mainframe. It uses CLI. So we'll also see what type of command prompt or terminal that we are using. And it also has plugins. So plugins is like nothing but it's a kind of extended version of feature that Ansible provides. So it may be for transforming data, logging output, and connecting to the inventory. And playbook is like finally orchestrate multiple slice of your infrastructure topology. So with detailed control on how many machines tackle at the time. So here you can, earlier in diagram, you can see only one as a Z server host, but here you can see three, and you can have hundreds, thousands, or how many ones. It is like, it depends on your setup and your willingness to do the same stuff on different systems, or even you can have different host setting up with different LPAS to run your or JCL job. So first thing first, we'll see about how to download and install Ansible on Linux. Here I have taken the example to run this Ansible script or Ansible playbook on Linux machine. Linux will act as a control node. When I say control node, it is the system where you will write your stuff and run your stuff. However, the actual work will happen on your host, which is IBM Z or mainframe for us. On Linux, we need to have install Python 3.5 or later. You can do using this command sudo dnf install python 3. It depends on what type of Linux operating system you have. So this command might differ or slight change based on your flavor of Linux machine. In my case, I have Python 3.9.16 installed. So here on left side, you can see the commands to install stuff, and here I can show like what specifically you can install or how to install with using that command. Once you have this Python installed, you can install Ansible. So again, you can install it as a Python package using pip3. Since I'm using Python 3, you can use pip3 to install the Ansible package. Um, for IBM Z core collection, there is always a requirement to have specific versioning of Ansible and zOS core collection. So here you can see that I specifically mentioned a couple of versions here, like Ansible 8.3.0 and IBM zOS core is like 1.2.0. So the reason behind that is all the playbooks that are available within this IBM zOS core collection might need some specific version to run them. So now you will might be surprised like how I will understand what version it would require. So I will also tell you that where to find that information and how you can then manage your installed version of Ansible and the zOS core collection. So with this command, you are able to install the Ansible. Then you will be able to install using Ansible Galaxy collection. So it's a simple command like Ansible-Galaxy collection and then install, and then you have to provide IBM zOS core. There are multiple other collection as well available, but in today's session, we'll just take zOS core collection to talk to zOS. Once you have all these three commands executed successfully and all the versions installed properly, verify that it is all good. So you might be not able to get all the information very clear at this point, but definitely when you run this Ansible hyphen version, you will able to see that what type of configuration it has, what type of dependency it has, and whatever is installed and where it is installed. So all that information will be available on the terminal whenever you run this Ansible version command. So make sure that this is installed and available properly, because without this we will not be able to proceed. So whenever you try to start with this type of automation, make sure that you have this installed. And sorry. So now we'll see like what files we would require to run the Ansible automation for zOS. So as I was saying, that inventory is basic stuff that we would require to have our things going. And then how it should be created. So there are sample inventory available. I will have that link at the end of this session. So but I can see that there is a sample inventory provided here, and what it has is it has basically source system and then host and the host information with host name and the username. So in our case, I have this inventory as named as your host.yml. So YML is a kind of language that Ansible supports and Ansible use, and it is very simple in terms of writing. You just need to have ensure that you have right indentation and properly managed it using any type of ID like VS Code for that matter, or any other tool that YML can be written, like Notepad++. Also, you can write the YML files. So that's the basic thing that you can start with. Here in our case, inventory your host.yml file has the host system where we want to connect. So it's a G system. It has host. Your host name contains the name of your host system. So in my case, it's already means I have connected to it, but it can be your basically your company.com, or even if it is IP address or anything for that matter. And then you have to have the port. So 22 is port for SSH. Then your user ID and password. So it's a user ID and password to log into your Unix system services, so USS. It can be given here. Then you have to write this SSH pipeline equal to true. That is required for having the connection with zOS. Whenever you have means continuously running some script in terms of Ansible, you don't have to provide password each time. So one time if you provide, it will just take the same password next time for that session. And then zOS utilities home path. So you have to provide the directory where the ZOAU is installed. So automation utilities are installed. If it is not installed, get it installed, because it is the fundamental thing that you will need to have, and you have to supply the installation path here, and then Python path. So Python is again one of the requirement that you will have to provide the path to in order to run this inventory or your host.yml. The second file is ansible.config. So whenever you have this installation done, it may be present that you will have Ansible config default present. So here I have given the sample. It has a couple of default and specific to SSH connection, like pipeline equal to true, or some ports or some roles of the user. However, if you want to override it, you can also do. It can be up to your directory folder or how you configure the Ansible. So in our case, we'll take it simplest way. We'll not do it fancy. We just need three things: pipeline equal to true, fork, and and the key checking. So we'll make it false. So for now, we are connecting with SSH. If you are not sure about how to connect with SSH, there is separate article written for that, but I don't means I have given the resource, but I don't think so it is required to have. But on Linux machine, you need to have SSH pass installed in order to run any SSH connection from your Linux machine to any other host. So make sure that you have that SSH pass already available in your system. Now, last and very important file that we would need is YAML file configuration, which is ping. In our case, we are trying to ping our host system. Here are some environment variables and and some sample ping file available. So I will also share you the link where this ping.yml is present. Sorry. And what it means. So what we are going to do with this YAML file is that with zOS server, we are trying to connect from our Ansible present on Linux machine. We'll just ping the server and get the response back whether it is connected or not. So it is the simplest example that we are taking. And if it is successful, then probably we can write our first real Ansible playbook for submitting the JCL. Once you return this ping.yml file, first thing is that you have to run the following command on the terminal to check that whether it is connected or not. So it has some syntax, and it's like Ansible-playbook space ping.yml. So it is our file name where you have your collections or inventory present, and then with inventory -i, you can provide the inventory file name. In our case, it's your host YML. So you can put any names that you want to have. But just for our understanding, I kept it specifically like ping.yml so that you can understand whether this file is going to be used for used to ping the zOS server, and your host will definitely have some host details to connect with. Now we'll see that the result, how it looks like when you run this command. It starts executing. Here you can see that as I was saying, like it is everything is task, and the task was like pinging host, and here you can see the host name. So it's for, in my case, it's pmc.com. I'm pinging that, and I get connection result as okay. And here you can see that recap, which says that okay 1 and all other are 0. So whenever you get all other stuff as not your desired output, then probably you will have to recheck SSH connection and recheck your host details. So when I started doing this type of automation, I personally felt to run this playbook, because I was not having that SSH pass installed, and it is definitely not a default thing to have that installed. But since I was planning to do it simplest way, I had to get it installed, and after that, immediately when I run this playbook, it was simply asking password for the first time, or even you can record it in your playbook, and then that's all you would need. So username password for your Unix system services is what we need to have or establish the SSH connection. So now, once we get the OK as one, or the OK for our task, then we are good to go, and it makes sure that yeah, we are now ready to run your first Ansible playbook for zOS. And now we'll see what that means. Okay, so we'll take a simple example, submit a JCL job, because nowadays it is very famous that you have a couple of Jenkins JCL jobs available, and might be part of your day-to-day jobs, like need to drop this database, or delete delete the file system, or any PDS member, or any PS member, or temporary data sets, whatever, even to execute some form of JCL to make APF and things like that. So why to go always log into mainframe and do the same stuff? You can use this Ansible playbook to run the same stuff. You just need to have to provide the PDS and member name, so that you can trigger that job from Ansible, and it will run. And it's not like we will run this on only one system. You can run it on 1, 10, 100, or 1000. So based on your requirement, you can customize this. This is not limited to submit JCL job. However, you can have multiple things like creation of data sets, renaming it, or be it any operation for that matter, or even running the TSO command. So you can do n number of things using Ansible zOS core collection, and it is best because you can do it all at one time and in single click or single command run. So that's why I like it, and I personally tried it to ease my job, and definitely to make the mainframe modernized. Before we go into this, I will also have to basically ask if it is new for you. Like if you are new to automation, think about that. If you are aware of the old means workforce that we have in the mainframe industry is getting retired soon, and we'll have to have some replacement in terms of technology, or some features available, so that you don't have to make complex adjustment on mainframe. This is the way that you can start simplifying the same stuff that uh, we have been using for a long time. And and definitely this is going to help Gen Z people to start with it, to avoid complex stuff and make it simple. Okay, and to run this is simplest way, what we'll need to have is three things: inventory YAML, so which is your host YAML in our case, submit job, which is actually having the details about what PDS member or what job has to be submitted, what is the name of that job, and what is the output that we would like to have. Okay, and then Ansible config. So two parts of this configuration we already have seen, like inventory YAML and the Ansible config. So only new part is submit job YAML. So here you can see that it is given. And if you are not able to see this in detail clear, make sure that you download this presentation at the end of session, and you will be able to go through it. If you are still unclear about what it is, how it is written, there is a link provided at the end of this session which will take you to sample submit a JCL job configuration or a YAML file, and then you can start with your journey. So few things required to run this playbook. As I mentioned, like ansible.config file to include pipeline equal to true, so that you don't have to put your password again and again for running your playbooks. Um, then we have to modify the inventory file to add zOS host, user details, and Python location, which we have already updated in ping session. So however, yeah, ping was just specifically to one host. Here you can add multiple host, and here you can see that third line, it says like host all. So whatever present in your host.yml, it will take all those as a host server and run this job on that server. So make sure that you have this configuration properly present. And the last step would be to run the Ansible playbook using following command. So I have given this step-by-step kind of details to enable you to run this command. So Ansible playbook hyphen space submit hyphen job dot yml and inventory. Okay, so you can have it present anywhere online or your Linux machine. You just need to make sure that you are into that directory and you are able to run this command. If you're getting some problem with this command, just troubleshoot whether you are into right directory, because uh, whenever you run this command, you have to be in the same directory to have this file present. So submit job YML file and your host.yml file should be in the same directory in our case, because we haven't provided any directory. So once you run this um, script or playbook, um, you'll be able to verify the JCL job output. So here, what it contains is like host name, job ID, and max EC. So three things we are putting or logging into our result. Okay, and again, you can see that I ran this command using this command. Then the first task was to submit JCL. Okay, and you can see here the name of the job is DevOps, and then the host name .bmc.com, and then task taking the job result into consideration, checking that whether it is okay or not. Once it is okay, it just captures the results, and again results will have okay and the server details where we are running this script, and again message like job and job ID completed with so and so written code. So here in our case, it ran fine because I was expecting it to run with return code 8. However, you can run with whatever return code you wish to have. And based on the result, you can also put that result as a failure or pass or whatever you want. So um, means why this is important to log results always, because you will not able to understand whether it is submitted or not. So if you just not log these results into your playbook, at this step you will not be able to get that whether it is really executed fully or just submitted, because the second step is just about submission. However, the result confirms that it was submitted with this job ID and completed with the end result of maxcc 0008. So ensure that you always have these results. So if I go back on this slide, on last few lines says about result, and it has the debug configuration and the message, like it logs what exactly has been written by your playbook. So ensure that debug present always in your playbook, so that you will be able to get the desired result, understand where it is failing, understand where it is passed, and then go ahead with larger execution. Like if you try with running on only one server, once you are satisfied with the result, you can implement similar on 100 or tens or multiple of instances. So that's like, here you can see that play recap. It has host again. It has 3 task details, which says about successful. Green means all 3 okay. There is one changed, so we changed the host here, and again all other zeros, because if your server is not reachable, you will get unreachable 1. If your script is failed, you will get failed 1. Skip, you can have the provision to skip any task if based on the assertion like step 1 2 3, and you can skip step number 2 based on the step number 1 output and things like that. So that result also can be captured. Okay, and then we have this uh, so I think rescheduled, rescued, which is 0, and ignored. So you can also ignore some script or task based on the result from your earliest task. But in our case, we haven't done it. We have done it's very simple. Just connect to host, submit a job, get the results, and that's all. Recap. So congratulations that you are now able to run your first Ansible playbook for IBM Z. And here you can see that we haven't connected or log in through TSO ID to your mainframe to submit this job. And that's how Ansible is very useful whenever you don't have to log into mainframe sessions or establish or or traverse to multiple ISPF windows. This can be your key to tackle those type of situation or those type of task or jobs. So ensure that whenever there is a repetitive work, repetitive task that you want to have automated, think about Ansible, as it is simple and doesn't require multiple tool setup to go with this. As I was saying, like there are many Ansible core collection available. Here there is a link I provided. If you download the slides, you will be able to get this details. Also, what it has is, it has a number of collections, free YML files or playbook files, you can say, or even inventories available. So just modify according to your host, according to your setup, run it from anywhere, be it your Linux machine, be it your virtual machine, be it your Windows with having WSL Windows subsystem for Linux, or hypervisor V with having Ubuntu or Red Hat or any type of Linux machine installed on your Windows. So you can do it multiple way from Windows and Linux to talk to your zOS. So there are number of zOS tasks also available, like data edit, copy, even IMS stuff, DB2 stuff, core operations, maintenance, activity. You can do it all. Okay, so you can do it all using the same setup. That's the good part of it. Only things that are getting changed here is what things you are going to do on zOS. So like submit a job is different, get the job details is different. However, the host part is same. You just need to have the actual part that you want to do on zOS is getting changed. And for that also you will have multiple samples available. So I encourage you to go to this link and download or just have a view of this Git repo so that you will know how this is being done. And as I was saying, that some collection have specific version requirements. So here in every inventory, you will get that details, like what is the required dependency for running that specific collection. Say suppose for submit job, there is a XYZ version required, but for data edit or DB2 configuration, you would need some different version of collection. Different version of Ansible or the even core collection. Yeah. So make sure that you have right version, otherwise you will not able to connect it to zOS, and you will get the result as a failure. So debug is also simple. It will tell you what is going bad, what is missing. Say suppose when I tried this for the first time, I was getting error like the Ansible core collection version was not correct, and when I was debugging those output messages, I was able to pinpoint that, okay, what exactly version is required for the Ansible dependent version. So I combined both versions together. I put that into place on my Linux machine. And as soon as I put that, it immediately worked. Okay. So, okay. And yeah, so resources, again, a very useful in terms of you are trying it on different things, like as I was explaining, Windows with WSL installed on your machine. Okay, and then it has a good documentation support as well. But with my presentation, I would say that you will be able to run without looking into documentation. However, if your task is specific to your own area, that might need to be changed based on the host details and the task that you want to run on your G system. So here there was a session by Jacob few days back, I guess. It is again 101 session, and I found it mix like complex also and for beginners. So I tried to take what is simplest part because I want everyone to try at least. Even if you are failed, that's fine. But unless you fail, you will not be able to understand why it is failing and why it is failing. So also read this through PDF. It will be a good examples for you. And there is one session, I think last GSE UK, I think, yeah. So it was by brand. So that session is also good. It's bit complex, or you can say for stage 2 kind of people. You can also refer that in order to explore the IBM zOS core collection. He has explained it very well. But again, you need to have today's specific understanding of running it from the scratch. As I was saying that you will have the reference to all that files that I have used in this session. So inventory, so it's introduction to inventory files. So again, it also has the reference to dependencies. You will able to understand what is dependency required to run this inventory. Then Ansible configuration settings. This is means it again, it depends on your task that you are going to run, but what I have provided is the basic one, and that satisfies our need, and that satisfies also for goal to submit stuff on Ansible. Again, sample ping file to achieve that you're connected to zOS, that also provided. And this file might be bit complex for you. That's why I have given example which is very simple. Okay, so compare both, whatever suits you, whatever finds easy for you, just take that, and definitely you will be able to run your automation. And as I was saying that I was facing personally the problem with the SSH connection from my Linux machine to zOS. So how you can install that stuff, it is also provided with this link. If you are not using Red Hat version of your WSL or the Linux machine or Linux VM, you can find other also. So more or less it is the same process. However, the package installation is different. So somewhere it is like apt-get, somewhere it is DNF install or YEM install, or somewhere it is even the Python installation. So it depends on what layer you are running from. I gave for Red Hat Linux based virtual machine or the Linux machine, actual physical machine. Okay. So on top of it, if you are not sure about installation for your laptop or for your organization, if you're not getting hold of the administration to get those all software installed, there are some hands-on labs available. Feel free to go make some user. I think it needs to have some user setup, but I think that's free, and you can do some kind of modification here, and you can play with the playbooks. So if you are literally new, don't want to install anything on your laptop, don't want to break your laptop, don't want to invest your time in setting up, you can go with this hands-on lab. Definitely it will help you to understand and get going with this. Okay. So that's about it today, and I think we'll be taking some questions now, and yeah.
So thank you so much. I think that was really good, a true 101 type session to help us get started in using Ansible. I have opened up the microphone, so please do feel free to unmute and ask questions. But just in the chat, I know we did have a question from Simon, which I think you have answered, but it's worth reiterating. And the question was, can you use Windows subsystem for Linux?
Yeah, so as I explained while talking, like you can use Windows subsystem for Linux. We also call it as WSL. Also, some people have set up like Windows with hypervisor V. You just need to have one flavor of Linux machine installed on your Windows with WSL. Then set up similar thing again inside that Linux machine, and you will be able to run that, provided your organization policy is allowing connection between those two. And I'm sure that WSL will allow, because I also tried with that type of setup first, and in my case I was able to successfully connect through Windows subsystem for Linux to zOS. Okay, and for this type of configuration you definitely need SSH connection to be enabled, so make sure that you have that present. Yeah,
fantastic.
I hope I answered the Simon's question.
Yeah, he seems to have put a thumbs up on this, so you have answered the question.
Okay,
thank you.
Cool.
Also lots of good comments as well, so lots of information to digest here. Very informative and good use of examples as well in your session. So thank you for putting the effort into to prepare all that information for us. So I have one question for you in terms of, I know you yourself are fairly new to Ansible as well. But do you have any real life examples of where organizations have actually used Ansible for zOS on the systems to overcome any specific challenges? Do you have any real life examples at all?
See, as I was explaining through my examples, make APF is one of the challenge for us personally in our team. So whenever there is a maintenance activity on mainframe and we used to lose our access in some cases. Okay, and it is important whenever we come on Monday morning India time, we find that, oh, we lost the access. So we don't have to worry about whether we lost access or we still have access. So with Ansible for Z, it will run. You can schedule it, you can have cron job to run this, and it will take care. So even if you lost access or if you still have access, it will run. It will ensure that we have right APF in place, authorization in place, and you don't have to worry about it on Monday morning at least.
Okay, that's
so
good.
Yeah, so that's basic example. Again, means I mean people always starts with complex, and when they fail they just leave that. So that's why I suggest and recommend to start with simple example and take whatever you face daily, so you will be able to quickly catch the train. So definitely it's the key.
Yeah, that's a good way to learn. Okay, so once again, invite anybody in the audience, please do feel free to unmute and ask questions or share your comments as well. And while we wait for that, we've got a few minutes. Should I be worried in any way about any of the security concerns in terms of connecting Ansible to my production system at all? Are there concerns that administrators have?
Yeah, production system, you must be concerned in terms of what you're doing. Okay, so because definitely first thing first is that you will not have access to production just for of learning purpose, right? So whenever you run something on production system, make sure that you are running right thing. So I would suggest always to run on staging area first to understand where it is doing right thing,
Mhm.
right? And once it is confirmed, verified with all the end users, then probably go to production, because definitely having directly doing this on production system will definitely break things or make some people nervous as well. So
Yes.
yes,
Yes. So be careful
but
of that.
people
Good.
do it on production system as well, but provided it pass through all the checks, verification
Of
beforehand.
course. Of course. Okay. Thank you for that, Sujit. So one
And
last call. Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
so I was explaining, so Windows WSL is best way to start with this, and I think that can be available for everyone. And your test helpers or test systems on Z is best again to connect with. So yeah, sorry,
Fantastic.
I interrupted you. So
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. I was just going to ask one more call really for questions and comments. Otherwise, we'll bring this session to a close.
uh-huh.
And a final reminder that I have put a link in the chat for the feedback. So please do take time to provide some feedback, and we can make sure we can do everything we can to improve future sessions for you also.
Yeah.
So, okay. It doesn't look like we have any questions. So Sujit, thank you
Yeah,
so much for taking
no
time
problem.
today to prepare and to share with us your insights. And we look forward to a future session from you as well. So
Yeah,
thanks very
sure.
much. And thank you everybody for attending today's session.
Yeah, appreciate your time and everyone's time. So I look forward hearing questions on my email. If you're not sure about your question right now, just email me or connect with me on LinkedIn, so that I will be able to help you in some way. Okay. So thank you, everyone.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks, Atul.
Thanks a lot, Sujit. Very cool session.
Thank you. Thank you, Daniel.